Peace and blessings to you, my brothers. I hope that you guys are doing well. It is November the 23rd, 2021. We're on the eve of Thanksgiving. We're on the cusp of Christmas. We are getting closer to a brand new year, 2022, and we're just wrapping things up. Listen, guys, I want to talk to you all about Richard Williams. And I want to talk just briefly with you about the film King Richard that is out right now, featuring Will Smith. Last night I had the great pleasure of chopping it up, doing a breakdown, a dissection of King Richard with Dr. T.S. Johnson, Green Gorilla, and BGS Ibmore. And you guys, go check it out. I put it on my community tab. We spent over 3 hours together, man, just talking about the film, breaking it down, talking about the politics, the criticisms that are now coming in about the film, talking about black fatherhood, its challenges, talking about the meaning of Richard Williams, two black men, two black masculinity. And I just want to add a little bit more to the conversation around Richard Williams. And what I want to say, my brothers, and I said this in the live stream last night, is that I regard Richard Williams as a philosopher king. I regard Richard Williams as a brilliant strategist and a thinker, someone who possessed a vision, someone who studied the very field that he wanted to dominate, who understood the game. He dealt with life. He dealt with tennis as though it is a chess game, and indeed it is a chess game. This is someone who learned from the accumulation of his life experiences. That is, this is a man who grew up hard in Shreveport, Louisiana, all right, under the weight of Jim Crow, segregation, the Ku Klux Klan, the emasculation of black men. And this is a man who has wounds, he has scars, he has been on the battlefield, okay? And that created, that situation, that background created a kind of personality, a kind of disposition, a philosophy of life. I said this on the live stream that I grew up, I'm from Florida, as some of you guys already know. I grew up with guys, men, grown men, who had the kind of attitude and outlook as Richard Williams, okay? These were stern men. These were men who were very direct. These were men who understood, were very comfortable with themselves. And these were men who were just basically no nonsense guys, okay? They were stubborn, they were bullheaded, and you could only understand them in relationship to what they came out of. Okay, well, again, what they came out of, Jim Crow, all right? Richard Williams was born in 1942. My mother, she was born in 1942, and my mother had 6 brothers, okay, and a number of them were much older than her, and I saw their lives, and I'm going to tell you, brothers, it was no cakewalk. But here's the point I want to make to you guys, is that when we meet Richard Williams in that household in Compton, California during the crack era, the 1980s and the early 1990s, I mean, we're talking about war zones. We're just talking about just a lot that's going on in terms of, major transitions in black American life at that particular time. And, and you're talking about a man who's having to raise, 5 girls, 2 of which are his biological children, and the others are stepchildren, okay, in Compton. And this is a man who was intent on producing champions, being successful. And he did so as a military strategist, as you know, it's like military philosophy. I mean, you have the discipline, you've got the order, you're thinking not about tomorrow. You're not thinking about next week. You're thinking 10, 20, 30 years down the road. Okay, all right, and that's what it means to have a kind of deeply philosophical disposition. Okay, he studied the game. He studied the game of tennis. He knew who the players were. He knew where to go to get the type of input and resources he needed to put his daughters on that track for success. All right. He had a business philosophy that was very, very compelling. But his business philosophy was very much a part of, this type of philosophical outlook that you see in him. Here's the thing, brothers. There are two things that I want to say about Richard Williams that's important in terms of him being a philosopher king. Okay, him having strategy, him having this outlook, and him having a plan and a vision. In order for those things to be realized, you have to act on those things. And acting on those things means that you have to take risks, okay? Richard Williams did not have the background for much of what he did and became in the world of tennis. He was an autodidact. He was self-taught. He had to go against a white world of trainers and capitalists and organizers and hierarchies and just an entire system, all right, that he was not a part of. And he took the risk. He took the risk by engaging it, all right, without having any background. Self-taught black man and autodidact. And being a risk taker means that he was willing to fail. He was willing to fail. He was willing to put himself out there, which he did. He put himself out there, and he opened himself up to the possibility for error. But the larger goal that drove him superseded the prospect of failure. Okay, and that is something that's noteworthy, my brothers. That in this life, we black men have no other choice if we're going to advance and go forward. It's to be risk takers, okay? To be calculated, not just reckless risk takers, those who have not counted, those who have not thought about things, but to be a calculated risk taker, and that's what you get with Richard Williams in the world of tennis, in terms of how he dealt with coaches, how he dealt with agents, dealing with potential business deals, taking risks, all right, betting on yourself, all right, and believing that you can win, okay, and stepping out there and doing that, and let's just say that one fails, that's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, okay, because it's better to have put yourself out there, to have taken a chance and have fallen than it is to have just sat back on the sideline and just merely speculate about what could be and just, pontificate about, the possibilities or what have you. So Richard Williams was someone who put himself out there, and his daughters benefited from that. The other thing, my brothers, is that Richard Williams had no interest whatsoever in being a popular person. Guys, when you look at this man's life, you have to go back. I remember, guys, watching Richard Williams at those matches, at the U.S. Open, at Wimbledon, at the Australian Open, what have you. I remember him in the stands, in the sea of white folk, okay, cheering his daughters on as they're playing, and hell, giving the referees hell from the stands, okay. I remember him doing what no one else, in that that context, did. He did not care about decorum. He did not care about what people thought about him. This is a man rather from the country. He's Southern. He has that, that Louisiana Southern vernacular. He has those mannerisms. He looks the way he looks. He's a dark-skinned black man, blacker than 1,000 midnights, in the words of James Weldon Johnson. And he withstood and endured the ridicule of the white press. They labeled him a madman. They said that he was insane. It was suggested that he was just a major embarrassment to the sport of tennis, and there were other folks, and it's not just the white people, man. You have black people and other people in the upper echelons of society who felt a bit taken aback and embarrassed by Richard Williams. Those who believe in a certain type of decorum or what have you. But Richard Williams didn't care. He didn't care. He was out there, and he said, "This is who I am." He did not try to censor himself. He did not try to play the game in which the white world dictated that he played the game. He did things on his own terms. And doing things on your own terms means, my brothers, that you're willing to be unpopular. You are willing to not be liked. And the truth is, guys, is that to advance and to go forward, in this life, means many ways that you have to, get rid of the desire to be liked by people. Popularity doesn't get you anywhere. I mean, it gets some people, some things, but popularity it could be a chain. Popularity can be a jail cell. I'm not talking about a literal jail cell, but it can put you in chains. It can put you in prisons, wanting to be liked and wanting to be affirmed by others all the time. It can lock you up, because what it means is that, you cannot step out there and take risks. It means that you are constantly trying to conform, to a consensus. You're constantly trying to play by the rules or what have you. You're concerned about public opinion and public perception. And Richard Williams went out there in defiance of all those things. He knew who he was. He knew that he wasn't a white person. He knew that he wasn't among the ruling class white people. And he was willing to be the marketer, to be the hype man, to be, the guy who stood out, who was standing up for his two daughters, the champions Venus and Serena Williams, and he became successful, and now he is a legendary man because he gave no attention to popularity. So, brothers, these are just a couple of traits that stand out with Richard Williams, the philosopher king. And brothers, I want you guys to go back and look at his life and go to, here on YouTube, pull up as many videos as you can of that era, the early 1990s, where you see him there at the games and with his daughters and what have you. This is a man whose life needs to be studied seriously. I said this in the live stream that Richard Williams is a rebuke. His life, his story is a rebuke to all those forces over the last 50 years that have worked hard to decimate and destroy black fatherhood, that have been intent in dismantling black masculinity, especially the authoritative role of a father. It is a rebuke to 50, 60 years of liberalism. It is a rebuke to decades of feminism that simply just hates black men. And this film is a document which is liberal proof, it is feminist proof, which means that the bullets, the guns that they aim at it are just going to be unsuccessful, okay? Because this is a documented story of something that is real, that cannot be erased, it cannot be suppressed, you know. And the beautiful thing about it is that, you know, it was, and it is rather, executive produced by his daughters, Venus and Serena. And I said this on the live stream as well, is that, you know, the Serena, the Williams sisters rather, they created this film as a love letter to their father. Okay, so what we have before us, guys, is a monumental testament, and you know, to fatherhood. It is very instructive to the black community. I hope that black people sit back and really think about what we lose when we push away fathers, when we discredit and delegitimize the father, when we drive fathers away. Think about what we do when we hinder fatherhood from being fatherhood within our culture. So that's all I want to say to you guys. I might say more about this in the future. So this is another BMI, Black Men's Independence, BMA, Black Men's Agency, and BME, Black Men's Empowerment presentation. You guys take care. Peace out.